Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Thursday, April 25th, 2024. I, of course, with Originator Success here with your daily mortgage rate update. The only place on the web where you can join me live each and every weekday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can watch us on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget to give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Don't forget to smash that like button, tag an hello friend, share us in a group. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give it the thumbs up. Remember, if you'd like, you can sign up for our free daily lock advice emails, www.rateLockAdvice.com. You can sign up for our text alerts at www.ratetextalerts.com. You can get a live reminder that I'm going live each day at hmmr.io/reminder. Or you can find out how we can help you get loans from Google and social media. Go check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out about our elite program. So all that said, let's say hi to the live folks. Who do we got here this morning? Say good morning. Let me know that you're here. We got a handful of you on. I'm sure more will be joining. We got Mr. Sean Segaloff. Good morning, sir. Mallory Fodiatis. Good morning. Mike Brown. Great to see you there on YouTube. We've got Mike Tebow. Good morning, sir. All right. Well, with that that part said, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk about what's going on this morning. Good morning, Ms. Lindbergh. So anyway, taking a look here, mortgage-backed securities are currently down 39 basis points. Look down here at this chart down at the bottom right. Let me see if I can zoom in on this, if it'll let me scroll. Nope, let me refresh the page. The reason that mortgage-backed securities are down 39 basis points this morning is because of the first quarter GDP domestic gross domestic product. However, it's really not the GDP data. The GDP data, we came in at a 1.6% annualized rate for the first quarter. That was below forecast. This should have been good for rates and pricing. But what also came is, and I'm not going to lie, I don't quite understand where they pull this data, but it's the quarterly PCE. Tomorrow we're going to get the monthly personal consumption expenditures, but the quarterly PCE, it came in at 3.7. It was estimated to be at 3.4. The closely watched measure of underlying inflation advanced at a greater than expected 3.7% clip, the first quarterly acceleration in a year. So this is why you are seeing a negative into mortgage bonds, much stronger than what we actually would have expected to see. Taking a look here, I have the 5-day chart up so you could see that this went straight down. And as mortgage bond prices go down, as they drop, then that makes worse rate sheets. Now, looking over here, if we look right here on this, I think we're probably going to hit a negative and bounce up. So because of that, I would cautiously float. I wouldn't lock anything in this morning on this negative data. However, part of the reason we're seeing this negative reaction is that markets think that tomorrow's PCE data will come in negative, and that's why they're currently reacting this way. So keep that in mind. If you are looking to lock, we'll probably see some kind of a rebound here, but we could see another negative reaction tomorrow. It's pushed the 10-year treasury yield to 0.73. That is something that we want to be. That's a new high. You could see it right here that it's pushed up. And I say new. We did have that if we go back. We see it 6 months ago. Yeah. So, we were looking at that up in November. We've seen 4.7 before, certainly. But this is when we had the worst rates, and rates were up in the 8s coming out of October of last year. We don't want to see that. Since this year, when we saw everything coming down, we're seeing this is the worst level. Now, look at this pattern. Again, I want to be very clear what we're seeing here. When this is the 10-year treasury yield, when the yield goes down, that's generally in the direction that all rates are going to improve. Mortgage rates are going to improve. As this yield rises and goes up, that means mortgage rates are likely to creep higher and are creeping higher. So at the end of December, right here, it was basically the best level for 10-year treasury yields. It was also, if you look back here, we want this to be at the highs. You could see that coming up through November, this was the best levels for mortgage-backed securities, and we've lost ground through the year, both in mortgage-backed securities, and you'll see the yield going up. The reason we've seen this is the pivot in expectation of what was going to happen. Oh, it looks like we've got double the things here. Let me get rid of the extra. There we go. The reason that we saw that happen is that we have we have a lot more expectation of what's going to happen with the Fed. So at the end of December, markets are pricing in, a 1.5 drop in the Fed funds rate. They were talking about 6 possible rate cuts or less rate cuts, but for more rates. Now, again, we're looking at 1 to 2 rate cuts. I mean, this is 1 rate cut. This is 2 rate cuts, where 20% think will be exactly the same. 40% think we'll see 1 rate cut, and about 40% believe we will see 2 rate cuts. So it's almost neck and neck here as to whether we will see at least 2 rate cuts or only 1 cut. And that's what markets are pricing in. There's no expectation of a cut in May. There's no expectation of a cut in June. Look at that. That's up to 90% now. July is a maybe, but barely, right? 70%. September is the first time. And even that, look at that creeping away. And let's use the compare. And this is what we've been talking about. It's been flat, right? But look, yesterday, 30%, today, 40%. Yesterday, it was 20%. Now it's 12. So, the market is shifting, and it continues to shift in the direction that the Fed doesn't have to cut rates. And that's what we're seeing all of this stuff here. So what does that mean? It means rate sheets this morning are going to be worse than yesterday. Look like we were this morning should have been pretty much a non-factor. The GDP data really wasn't expected to be a big move. This is a stronger reaction to that PCE component than I expected to see. I didn't think we'd see this until tomorrow. Tomorrow's PCE data likely to continue to show inflation as well. So the overall direction of rates and pricing, rates aren't going to improve if the Fed isn't lowering and cutting rates. And the Fed does not need to cut rates if inflation is already starting to rebound, if the economy is doing well and the labor market is doing well. So, every time that it looks like, hey, we're finally getting to the light at the end of the tunnel and it looks like things should improve, and then it just kind of pulls off the table. And that's what we're at right now. So you want to start the day cautiously floating. And good morning, Lisa, and happy belated birthday. If yesterday was your birthday, and I meant to say hello to you, and I didn't see you. So happy birthday, Lisa. Hope you are doing well out in Ohio. So Tim said, is there any floor support, or are we just out there, no floor or ceiling? We could point to the technicals, Tim, but I'm not putting a tremendous amount of strength in them. So basically, you would use this candlestick, which we were at 99.09. That would be kind of the floor. So the idea is that, we're probably a few basis points below it, but that it's there. You could also see where this tail came to. The low point here was 98.97, and here was 98.98, which is the same thing. So you could actually draw a line here and say that traders are finding some support there at that 98.98 level. That would be the actual floor because of the bounce. And we got a bounce back then and a bounce here. So we'll look for that to hold up. I mean, I don't think that this is going to be all that big of a thing, but the overall consensus in the direction, it isn't changing. And next week, we're going to get labor market data. We'll get the BLS jobs report. We're going to get the JOLTS data. We're going to have the Fed meeting. I think the messaging from the Fed is not going to be all that advantageous to rates and pricing, though, because what is the Fed going to say except for that they're going to be data dependent, that they're going to hold it for higher for longer? It's the same thing that the Fed has been saying before the Fed meeting. I think it's what we're going to hear at Powell's press conference, but we never do know. That's why the last few days I've been saying, hey, if anything's closing in the next couple of weeks, lock it up, because days like today, you just don't know what it's going to bring, and that's where we've been. We're still in that range, rates and pricing not changing, not really anything worse than what we've seen. But if we use Mortgage News Daily as a reference point here, and let me pull this up real quick and I'll show you, right? So using Mortgage News Daily as the reference point and putting the actual rates out there, we're looking at a reality. We were down to 7 3/8, kind of there, and now we're going to be back up to 7.5. So Ron said the Fibonacci level 87, but data will outweigh the technicals. I fully agree. Ron is pointing out, one of the technical levels called the Fibonacci level. So that's, another, like I said, I'm looking at like 98, I think, but the Fibonacci would be right below that. But we could see it's not even just the data, it's the reaction to the data. It's the market sentiment. Just how pessimistic are traders going to get? The fact that we're seeing the 10-year treasury at 4.73 and it's breaking through where we were here at 4.67, that's not good. That's not good. We had 0.67 fell below it, and then we were. Let me just zoom in on this so it's a little bit. Let's do a month, right? So we were, we had hit this high, and then we were kind of right in here, and then now it's pushing up again. Tomorrow, I think we're going to get a confirmation it's going to push that higher. So we are probably going to want to consider locking loans near the end of the day, but we want to start the day cautiously floating. Let's see if we do get some recovery. But the outlook's been pretty much the same as just picking your spots. It's got a little more time. I think we don't have to panic yet, because unless we start seeing talk of rate hikes, we're not going to see rates go too much higher from here. They're kind of capping, but today we're going to hit that cap is basically what's going to happen. So, but I don't think we really have to worry about rates pushing too much higher unless all of the expectation of these Fed rate cuts falls off the table. And if they start using the term hike, that would be scary bad if we start hearing about potential rate hikes. Right now, it's still looking for a rate cut in September, even though the July cut, much less likely. There's about a 30% belief that we could see a rate cut. September is when we're looking for, and there's quite a few months between them. There's a lot of data to come in, a lot of jobs data, a lot of economic data. If inflation starts to fall back down again, a good sign. So for now, wait and see. But yeah, this morning's rate sheet's unfortunately going to take a bit of a beating, a lot more so than I expected to see this morning. So I really didn't even talk about it. I didn't think that PCE component, it's generally not a big deal, but it shows you that the market's very focused on that data. And tomorrow's PCE, remember, the one thing that could come in that could help a little bit is it has less for the shelter than the CPI does. So there's a little bit of hope that it could come in a little bit, but seeing this data come in 3.0 versus 3.4, that's a big blow. That's a big concern. So, all right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have a fantastic day. Even though rates are not there, remember, you still are. A lot of transactions out there. Go get them, my friends. Chris Perfor, Amber Moser, thanks for sharing. Bobby Searson, of course, Ron Siegel, Jerry Avila, Mike Schmolgen. Great to see all of you. Ron, did you tell us what day it is today? What's the special day today? What is the National Zucchini Bread Day? I will let you know that my mother-in-law makes zucchini bread. I prefer her banana bread, but she does make zucchini bread. So I will tell her that today is National Zucchini Bread Day. And good to have you back, my friend. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up. Robert Bashir said, it feels like I need to start doing pre-approvals with qualifying rate of 8% to allow wiggle room. You know what? I would definitely have that conversation. Hopefully we don't need it, but you want to be looking for it. Ron, he prefers the banana bread too. And yeah, you're going to make me give this woman my money, Ron. I mean, I need another subscription. Like I need another hole in my head. I already pay $1,000 a year for all the stuff I have, but I think I might pay hers and read some of your stuff after that. So question is, she might be seeing things that nobody else is seeing, but does it matter? Is it going to change anything? So, but I'm going to take a look. So, all right, everybody, you guys have a great one. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.